Hello and welcome. I'm Saffron from saffronthemanesies.com, and throughout July on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel we're going to be looking at how we can use EFT to help us with our parenting. So if you're not a parent, don't worry, there's still going to be stuff in this that you can find that would be helpful. I would encourage you to take part and tap along anyway, because we're going to be looking at, in the first week we're going to look at self-parenting, which is just something that's really helpful for everyone. So that's treating yourself as if you were your own child, finding that level of unconditional love for yourself as you would for your child. In the second week we're going to look at finding your intuition throughout conflicting advice. So with parenting we get it a lot, we get told what other people's opinions are, what we should do, this, that and the other, but that happens in other areas as well, and we're going to look at doing some tapping to find your intuition despite all of that advice. In our third week we're going to look at how we can use EFT to let go of control, because we're not in control of our kids, we're not in control of anything, many things really. The only thing that we do have some degree of control over is how we behave and how we respond. So we're going to look at using EFT to let go of that control, let go of that panic that we can sometimes feel when things aren't going the way that we want to. In our fourth week we're going to look at using EFT for when you're feeling judged by other people, based on your decisions, based on your parenting, and just again letting go of that. It comes back to not caring what other people think, and we've already done a video on that, but this one's going to be a bit more specific. And then in the final week we're going to look at EFT for when you're feeling guilty, which is something that happens to parents a lot. So here we are in our first week, so let's get started. So self-parenting. It comes back to taking the idea of self-nurturing and self-love and looking after ourselves to a completely different level, because I think sometimes we can get mixed up with the idea of self-nurturing and it can just be doing whatever I want. So I really want to eat this big chocolate cake, and so self-nurturing would be to do that because that's what I want. And maybe that's not always the case. So if we look at it from a parenting perspective, how we would respond to our children if that's what they wanted to do, it gives us a kind of basis for making those decisions and doing what feels best. So it's looking after ourselves, it's doing what's best for ourselves rather than what we want. But in order to do that we've got to find that unconditional love, and in this week's blog I've done a tapping script about finding that unconditional love for yourself, and I'm going to do a tapping script about that very same thing here, because I think it's an ongoing thing that we all need to work on, and that can be really tricky for all of us. So even if you feel like you do really well with the self-nurturing and with the self-love, there is always another layer to explore. So let's do that now. So let's start tapping here on the karate chop point. Even though I might be able to find more self-love, and I'm not really sure how to do that, that's okay. And I love and accept myself exactly as I am. So that might sound quite contradictory, because we're saying that we love ourselves in spite of the fact that we haven't found that self-love. So make sense of that in whatever way works for you. So let's go back into the tapping, which I haven't actually stopped doing. So even though I'm looking to find another level of this self-love, that's okay. I accept the self-nurturing that I'm doing so far, and I love and accept myself for that. Even though it might be difficult to treat myself as a parent would treat a child, That's okay. I accept that that might feel difficult for me, and I love and accept myself. So let's go to the eyebrow. I'm not sure how to find parental feelings for myself. I'm not sure how to love myself completely unconditionally. There's always something left about myself that I don't love. And I'd like to start looking at myself as I would want a parent to look at me. Maybe that might not have been what happened when I was little. But I can choose to be the parent that I need now. What would I do as a parent in this situation? Would I give myself what I want? Sometimes the answer's yes. And sometimes it isn't. And both of those are okay. I choose to be kind to myself. I choose to find love for myself. And also to find self-discipline. Because that's what a parent does. A parent helps with the rules, as well as being loving. Because having rules in place is part of being loving. I find love for myself through discipline as well as indulgence. And finding that balance is my job as a parent. Take a deep breath. So did anything come up for you there as we were tapping? Did any memories or emotions crop up? That balance between the discipline and the indulgence, the doing what you want and doing what you need to do, that is where the parenting comes in. That can be more difficult to find if we're just looking at it from a self-nurturing, self-care perspective. So just take some time throughout the week to think about how you would parent yourself in certain situations. If you're feeling sad, what would a parent do for you? If you need some support with something, what would a parent do? And how can you find that support, and how can you be kind to yourself? And I think the other thing that it can bring up is if you weren't parented in the way that you do your parenting, or in the way that you might have hoped that you were parented, there can be some feelings of loss that come up with this. So if that's come up for you, it can be really important to keep tapping on that and to acknowledge that that's there. And it doesn't mean that your parents didn't do a good job, it doesn't mean that you don't love your parents. Maybe it does, but it doesn't have to mean that. It just means that you're acknowledging what you actually need and giving yourself what you actually need. And our parents are all just people, and I think one of the big things that can come up when we become parents is that we start to look at our own parenting and how difficult that was for our parents, which we might not have appreciated before, and how it could have been different, or we might have wished that it was different, and that can bring up a lot of guilt as well. So if you're feeling that loss, if you're feeling the guilt for feeling the loss, keep tapping on all of these things, and let me know how you get on, or if you would like some more support. I'm planning to get back to doing my live videos on a Thursday evening this week, so if you check back in tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I am planning to be around, so if you have any questions about this video, if there's anything you'd like to go more deeply into, do come along and comment on that live stream, because if that's a good time for you to put a request in to do some tapping, and I will do it with you there live. So yeah, don't miss that opportunity. It's a bit of a free session kind of a thing. So yes, let me know how you get on. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow on the live stream, and see you soon. Bye.